Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It is November 3rd. It is 2023. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, brother. Hanging in there, enjoying life, and glad to be on this pod with you. I mentioned it pre-show. This is a good little tasty slate for a Friday. Not too big, not too small. Couple good games, so I'm thrilled to come on, man. Just talk shop with you.
Yeah, man. 7 games, really solid NBA slate here on today's podcast. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday night. I just realized that I put the wrong date on the title of this show, so I'll have to edit that when we're done. But it is the 3rd, and we're pumped. It's the first day set of games of the first ever NBA in-season tournament.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about this, Will. Like, I said this yesterday, I think. I wish this tournament was 3 weeks from now. I feel like they could have pushed this back a little bit. Like, it's happening, I feel like, way too early in the season. But, I mean, it's going to be fun. So,
yeah,
what's going to happen? Yeah, what's going to happen is every Tuesday and Friday, the games will count towards regular season games, but they're going to count towards this in-season tournament. So there's like 6 different groups. So the 6 teams that win their groups, and then one wild card from the West, one wild card from the East that has the best record in their group. Plus, I think the tiebreakers are point differential, total points scored. So like, I don't know. I've looked into it a little bit. But everything I've read for this is like there's some money involved for teams, for players. So
let's get it.
Yeah, I think teams take this somewhat serious. I mean, I feel like we get playoff atmosphere. I mean, definitely when we get into like the knockout round. So like for the next month or so, for November mostly, we're in this like group round. But like we get into this knockout round, it's single elimination. It's 8 teams. The quarterfinals and the semifinals will be still games that count towards the regular season games. But the championship game, December 9th, neutral site. And this is going to be a game that does not count towards the regular season. And it's just going to be, I feel like it's just going to be an awesome, fun basketball game. And I feel like, we got the no fun league. And then we got the NBA trying to do something different. So I think this is a really cool way to make the NBA season different. My only thing is, like I said, I wish that it was 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I do like about this, though, Stevie. I feel like it's going to incentivize teams to try to keep winning early. Like, I'm going to use your favorite 100%. Team and my favorite team. Yeah, like 100%. The Magic and the Hornets. We have no incentive to start tanking the first week of the season. Like, let's win. Let's try to – because realistically, are the Hornets going to the finals? No. But we got a shot at this in-season tournament. And if you win that, who knows how you can parlay some of that momentum into other games in the season. I like it. I'm all about the league trying to do different things to keep fan engagement, player engagement. So I think it's a good thing. And when I watched the interview with Adam Silver, he talked about the fact that, hey, soccer does an in-season tournament. And so not that they stole it per se, but, just kind of try to incorporate some of that ideology into the season. I think it's cool. And the fact that the games outside of the championship count towards the regular season definitely, I think, helps make this tournament work for the players, for them to not feel like, man, we're just out here playing an extra 4 or 5 games,
So, Will, hear me out. NBA staff, if you're listening, what if we took this tournament and we said the champion of this tournament is locked into a playoff spot?
Whoo!
Because, like, you get a young team that gets hot, like a Detroit Pistons. They get hot. They win their group. They get hot. they come out ahead of, I'm trying to remember, they're in the Pacers, Hawks, Cavs, 76ers group, right? So, like, they get hot in this group A for East, and they get into the knockout round. They stay hot. They're a young team. They stay hot in games. And now, like, you have this young team that can progress throughout the year, and they're locked into the playoffs. But I'm just saying, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
I like
it. And I think that would incentivize them, because here's the thing too, Steve. When you're going to the playoffs, it's a different mental, it's a different mind game that you're playing with yourself and your team. It's like, look, man, we got to get ready for the playoffs. Like, we can't be out here playing around, lollygagging, halving it. Like, we gotta be prepared, because people are going to be bringing it. And so guess what happens to that young team? They play hard all year, every game. They don't sit the star young. They won't sit Cade and all these other guys to play G League players. They will have to keep playing because they want to keep that momentum. Great idea.
Yeah, I mean, you still play throughout the season as, like, to try to get seeded. If you finish 6th in the East or whatever, like, you're okay. Nothing really changes. But say you're like a borderline, like you're in 10th, and like you're locked in because of you won the in-season tournament. Like, incentivize it even more. Make these teams like want to play this tournament even more. Listen, money is definitely gonna drive it, and I know there's like a most valuable player of the competition and like all kinds of stuff like that they're gonna be talking about. But it just overall, a little golf clap for the NBA doing something different. Why not? I wish, like, I think baseball, this would be something baseball could do, because baseball is such a grind, 162 games. Like, I just think that this is something baseball could do, something along these lines. Does it have to be the same thing? No, but I just think that overall it's fun and really cool to see. And we started today, 7 games. All of these games on Tuesdays and Fridays, all games on Tuesdays and Fridays count towards this in-season tournament. So every game playing here matters for the group round and group play and stuff. So let's get into it. Get started. We got Cleveland at Indiana taking on the Pacers. 225.5 total here. Cleveland a 3.5-point favorite. Night before, we got a question tag on Allen instead of an out tag. Garland's questionable. Jerome is out. On the Pacer side, Brown is questionable. Halliburton is questionable, and Jalen Smith is questionable. Luckily, 7:30 game. Some key pieces here on both teams that are questionable instead of ruled out here on the night before. First look. So we'll go Cleveland first. We know the type of upside Donovan Mitchell has. Obviously, his usage goes up with Garland off the floor. I think that this is a spot, if Jaren Allen were to come back, I mean, it potentially hurts the upside a little bit here of, the bigs here for Cleveland. I think, like, this is a really good spot for Evan Mobley, but I want Allen to be out. The Pacers have really struggled against bigs. Mobley put up 62 fantasy points against this team a week ago. Really, really like this spot for the Cleveland big man. I really hope Allen's out.
Yeah, and really, Stevie, I think for this whole team, for me, I need Allen to be out and maybe Garland as well. And the reason why I'm saying that, as you've already noticed, everybody's priced up on Cleveland now because some of those other pieces have been out. Like, I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell isn't worthy of a 10K price tag, but with everybody back, I would say no, especially if Garland comes back and Allen. You look at Max Strus. He's 6,200. LeVert 6,700. Mobley's 8,100. Like, these are prices where they're playing as if it's almost as if it's just Mitchell, Mobley, and Strus. If any of those guys come back, Stevie, I feel like I'm out on Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, it like the usage, the minutes are going to kind of be spread out a little bit more. If these guys are out, you could look for some value here with Okoro. He's doing a lot more. I think you're going to find better options value-wise on this slate than Okoro. I just wanted to mention him because he isn't playing terrible. We've seen Tristan Thompson get a few minutes here recently. I don't think he's playing enough minutes yet to matter. Pacers side of this game, I mean, it all really just comes down to, does Halliburton play or not? We saw him miss the last game. We really thought like we were going to see a big game from like Buddy Hield. Well, Boston just said, you know what? No one's getting a big game. We're just going to blow you out. And like you can't even look at what happened last game because the game was never close. Like TJ McConnell played 28 minutes. If Halliburton's out, maybe that happens again. But I mean, you don't trust anything that happened last game because the game just never was close. They won by 51 points.
Yeah, didn't they score like 156 or something like that? It was something
155
crazy.
to 104, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Rough, tough game. So for me with Indiana, I don't think they get blown out that bad. If Halliburton sits, then of course, similar situation. I do think McConnell will still be in play here. Cleveland's, has been a tough defensive team in general, past couple seasons, but I still would be willing to roll McConnell out. You talked about Buddy Hield. I think we could go back to the well here because Stevie, the thing is, we have to play for them for the game to be close. Like if we play for the blowout, we almost don't play anybody in this game. So I think with Halliburton out, these wings, to me that they're all going to get bumps. Benedict Mathurin, like I'd be in on him as well. Like just, these 5K guys, I think would give us tremendous value.
I thought the line was really interesting. I know this game is in Indiana, but I thought the line was interesting with Cleveland only being a 3.5 point favorite here in this game. That line kind of stood out to me a little bit. The first time these two teams met, the Pacers won by 12. So, I mean, I think it all kind of comes down to, and I think like Mitchell and Garland were out for that game. So it's a little tougher to kind of digest that one, but dissect that one. All right, we got the Knicks at Milwaukee taking on the Bucks. 227.5 total here. 6.5 favorites for Milwaukee. The only person on the injury report is actually a pretty big one. It's RJ Barrett. He's dealing with a knee injury, and he is questionable for this game. He did not play Wednesday's game. He ended up missing that game. So, Knicks side of this game, I mean, I'm going to let you talk about it. We've already talked about it pre-show, but tell us what you're seeing here with the Bucks.
Well, if you're not actually pulling up the data every day, then your brain is going to keep you locked into the old Bucks, the Bucks of old, and what we've seen from them in previous years. And as we mentioned, we were talking pre-show, like the Drew Holiday effect is real for this team. Losing a lot of their defensive pieces. The Milwaukee Bucks are last in the league in defensive efficiency. And so for me, I don't care if Giannis is on this team. I don't care if Damian's on this team or Chris Middleton. If the stats are saying you're last in the league in defensive efficiency, I want to attack this spot. Now, inversely, Stevie, the Knicks are like top 2 in defensive efficiency. So, we've got kind of a, let's call it clash of the Titans, if you will, where, strong force is going to meet some type of an immovable object here. But the Knicks should be able to score buckets. And I think Milwaukee will be able to too, because they have superstar players. But my larger point is the Knicks should be able to get off here because now the Milwaukee Bucks aren't playing any type of really good defense like they have been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think Knicks plus 6.5 interesting in this spot if you're in the betting market. If Barrett ends up sitting in this game, it's definitely going to open up some potential plays here. I think Quentin Grimes is super interesting if Barrett is out. I think Quickly is someone you could definitely look at in this spot. I don't mind Brunson or Randall if you want to attack like the ceiling upside, but if RJ Barrett sits in this game, it's a huge hit to this team.
Absolutely. And I know this guy, he's only a few dollars more than Quentin Grimes, but DiVincenzo ended up squeezing up 30 minutes in this spot the last time. So I think both of those guys, Grimes and DiVincenzo, are in play. Quickly was already going to get minutes anyway, but his usage, man, he played about 28 minutes, and he's just shooting the basketball. So a guy that's going to be able to get up a fair amount of shots, not even starting. I can't ignore that. I feel like guys like Quickly and Cole Anthony this season just going to be tournament targets for me every slate, Stevie, because they're barely going to be over 6K because they don't start. they're not going to be popular because they don't start. But these guys are just fantasy gold mines. So just want to put that out there. So I like them. And then, of course, you already talked about the main guys. Now, Brunson's 8,300. Randall's 8,200. Mitrop 3,500. And then we did get kind of an upside game from Hartenstein when they played Cleveland the last time. But his minutes aren't as stable. I do like Mitrop here for what it's worth, Stevie. Like, we've seen him this season. It looks like, to me, Coach Tibbs is committed to playing him roughly 30 minutes. Roughly. I'm not saying a hard 30 every game, but I mean, the first game against Boston, you can throw that out. Like, he was in foul trouble, like early on, he just didn't get in a groove. But outside of that, look at these other games, Steven. Even outside of the Cleveland game, 22 minutes. But in general, like, he's playing 30 minutes. We haven't seen 30 minutes consistently from Mitrop, I don't think, ever. So if we're going to get that at 5,500, he's too cheap for a guy that has, 40-point upside.
My only concern with like a guy like Mitrop in this spot is like this game going small. Like Giannis getting and playing the 5, and I don't know if they would necessarily leave a guy like Mitrop out there to play with Giannis. They could, I think maybe even use like a Hartenstein or just Julius Randle, like let Randle play the 5 against Giannis if this game goes small. So that's my only concern. Milwaukee, I feel like I'm pounding the drum on fading Giannis, and it's been working. I don't know how this in-season tournament kind of affects it. Does he try to take over this game? But I mean, at the end of the day, like, Dame is still going to get his usage. I mean, it's just not the same scenario anymore. Like Drew Holiday and Giannis kind of worked because like Drew's not going to be that like massive like usage guy. Well, Lillard is still a massive usage guy. So on the Milwaukee side, I don't know if I've played a Milwaukee player yet this season, and I don't know if this is the spot I do it. If anything, maybe like a Malik Beasley at 4,800, but I don't love the Milwaukee Bucks in this game.
Yeah, I totally get it. So this reminds me, Stevie, of I'm going toward this, I promise. And thank God we got a smaller slate today, so we can kind of talk through some scenarios. This kind of reminds me of when KD went to Golden State. We had to figure out how in the world was this going to work, who to target, what to target, because we didn't know if Curry's going to have a big game. And they all ended up, Stevie, if you remember those particular prices, they all ended up settling in around 96 to 9,800 every game because none of them had like massive upside game to game unless someone was out. That's what I think is going on with Milwaukee here. And so I think if you're fading Giannis at 10-8, I mean, at 10-8, Steve, we're basically looking for 55 to 60 fantasy points. And Giannis has that upside, but it's a shared responsibility now, a true shared responsibility, I think, between him and Dame in terms of the offensive end. I'm with you. I don't want to play Giannis. I'm probably more apt to play Dame than I am to play Giannis for what it's worth. Dame's a lot cheaper, and Dame is still, even outside of that game against Toronto and Miami, I mean, the shots are still going to be there, it looks like, most games. So I like him versus anybody else. But I don't really want to play them because, once again, the Knicks, their defensive efficiency this season has been really good, which makes sense because of their coaching philosophy. So I'm really not thrilled about Milwaukee today, but I do like the Knicks.
Yeah, the Magic have been fantastic defensively this year.
Inversely, Utah's been bad as well, which is why I love the Magic on the previous slate. Yep. Utah's defensive efficiency, I think they're bottom 4 in the league as well. Yep.
All right, Brooklyn at Chicago. 221 total in this game. Chicago 4-point favorite. Brooklyn side, Claxton, Cam Johnson out. Dinwiddie, DSJ questionable. Chicago good to go. Start here with Brooklyn. I mean, it all really comes down to, like, does Dinwiddie play? Like, DSJ, he matters a little bit in this spot, like if he plays or not, but not even close to Dinwiddie. If Dinwiddie's out, I'm going back to the well on Lonnie Walker. I know he only played 25 minutes the other night against Miami, but he looked fantastic again. I think like he is someone you could take some shots on here. Ben Simmons finally had that like dud game where he didn't really score and he wasn't getting a ton of assists. So maybe he's someone we stay away from if he gets a lot of ownership. But again, like that matchup was tough. It was against Miami. That was a slow paced game. A little bit different game here, but overall, I mean, Bridges, fine. Don't hate it, but I don't love the 8K price tag. I would rather just go down like Cam Thomas, but Lonnie Walker is the guy that I have circled here. And then Finney Smith. I think Finney Smith, if these guys are out again, has a little bit of upside here at 5,200.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, Steve, I think I've taken my Ben Simmons shares for the season until his price comes back down. I got on Ben Simmons like right out of the gate, and I played him all those other starts. Didn't play him against Miami, and that worked out for me fairly well. We're still going to have spots to play Ben Simmons, and this could very well be one, Stevie, because the Chicago hasn't been anything that I'm concerned about. But his price is now $7K, and so we're saying, hey, we need 40 to 50-point Ben Simmons rather than 35-point Ben Simmons. Now it's not helping us versus when he was high fives, low sixes. So I'm with you on Lonnie Walker at 5,300. This is a guy that's been producing for this team, so I like him a ton. I don't hate, now talking about 7K guys, I don't hate Cam Thomas for tournaments. Like he's 7,200. He's probably priced a little bit more than what we want to pay Stevie, but the upside is 45.50. It's going to be with real points. Don't get me wrong, but so he's a guy I don't mind. I mean, I think in our minds, we thought that Mikal Bridges was going to be kind of the guy, and he's producing, but Cam Thomas is really like stroking it out there so far this season. So I don't hate him for tournaments.
Yeah, and really quick, I mean, I really thought from the other night perspective, I thought like Sharp could play more because like Miami does use a big, but like they were perfectly okay with like Ben Simmons kind of playing the 5, Finney Smith like playing it. Like Vooch could eat in this spot. I mean, let's go to the Chicago side. I think this is a spot Vooch could have a really, really strong game. We just saw Bam put up 50 fantasy points against this team. Like they don't have a true big man to like slow these big men down. I think
we back to centers against Brooklyn again?
I think with Claxton out, like they refuse to play Sharp, and like we got Vooch coming in with back-to-back, 20 or back-to-back 50 fantasy point days, and like those were good spots. Dallas doesn't really, Derek Lively maybe. Pacers have been awful against centers, and I think this is another spot we could just ride the hot hand with Vooch. Probably be like 8K next slate, and we could jump off of it. But I think we just keep playing Vooch in this spot.
Yeah, listen, you know me, Stevie. I don't mind that call at all. I'm all about it. So give me Vooch. I'm in on that call. Also, one of the things that's been interesting to me this season, Stevie, with the Bulls is Kobe White. And so hear me out here. Kobe White has been playing minutes for the Bulls in the past, but he's been like low 20s. This season, I just kind of want to see they've committed to playing him, looks like 30 minutes, Stevie, roughly 30 minutes, high 20s, low 30s. And we haven't really seen a breakout game since the Toronto game. But, like in game 1, he took 14 shots, 15 shots, only 4 against Detroit, only 6 against Indiana, but then he took 12 against Dallas. I think Kobe White in tournaments is going to be okay as long as the shot attempts remain. I don't hate, DeRozan at 7,300. I feel like that price is fair. We can just keep, flying him out there every game. Now, his scoring hasn't really been where I thought it would be to start the season, but I do believe it will pick up. I mean, I'm saying that, Steven, he scored 20-33, 20-16. Like he still scored 20 points a game pretty much. So I don't want to read too much into it, but I'm really looking for that 24 to 25 point scoring nights from him, and maybe that will pick up as we move along. But at 7,300, I don't hate DeRozan as well.
Yeah, DeRozan is fine. I don't necessarily love anybody from Chicago. I think that like the Brooklyn team is a much better defensive team. We saw it towards the end of last season. They were a way different like look team just in general. So they can play good defense. They haven't been playing great defense to start the year, but we know they can play good defense. All right, Golden State at OKC, one of the most interesting games on the slate. 229 total here. Golden State a 5-point favorite. On the Golden State side, everybody's good to go. On the Thunder side, SGA is out. Kendrick Williams is out, and Jalen Williams is questionable. I guess like the original report had Jalen Williams is questionable. Lynn, not Len Williams. So we'll see. The center for the Thunder could potentially make his debut here in this game. So, all right, Golden State first. I mean, like Chris Paul's price not down enough yet. Like, he had that role where Draymond was out. It was a much different role for him. Klay Thompson or Steph could shoot lights out on any given slate. I think Draymond, the minutes are increasing. They're not exactly where we want him to be yet. I think it's just on the Warriors side, you in tournaments take some shots on Curry, take some shots on Klay, and everyone else is kind of priced appropriately with everybody healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that notion. I will say there are going to be certain spots this season, Stevie. Like I did take Steph Curry against Sacramento the first time they played this season, worked out really well for me. Like there are going to be some spots. I don't think this is the spot against OKC today. Kevon Looney's priced up. Draymond's already priced up. Clay's pretty much priced up. Wiggins just hasn't been a great fantasy producer. Now he's not even really playing 30 minutes a game yet, so I'm going to give him some time. The minute we find out, Steve, if Wiggins is going to start playing 35 minutes, it's time to fire him up. I will say that. At that price, he's going to be too cheap. But yeah, I don't really want to play anyone from Golden State today.
Which kind of stinks because like the other side, Thunder side of this game, I feel like they're going to get ownership as they should. I mean, SGA is a usage monster. So like with him out in this game, it's just a huge bump to so many different people. Like Josh Giddey last year, looking at last year's numbers, 950 minutes. Giddey averaged a 26% usage rate and was averaging, 1.18 fantasy points per minute. So Josh Giddey, huge bump for him. I think that like he's someone we're looking at. I think like we have to, obviously like Lou Dort has some upside here. We're going to get some upside with maybe like a Man or a Wiggins. I think we could see like Josh Giddey play point, and
I definitely think he's playing point.
I think Kaysen Wallace could draw a few extra minutes in this game. I wish he was cheaper. But I think Wiggins could play more like wing minutes if like Giddey's playing point guard minutes. So I don't know if it's like Trey Mann getting there, and I think like he has the potential of getting a lot of ownership at 3,700. But I see ways for like Mann to bust on the slate. So kind of hoping that he gets some ownership, and people just assume, hey, SGA's out. Next point guard is Wiggins, but like realistically, next point guard is Giddey, and they could use one of these other like wing type guys to fill some Giddey minutes.
Yeah, man. Listen, I kind of hate SGA is going to be out today, Stevie, because I don't want to tell anybody this. Hopefully, the pick'em sites aren't listening to a DFS show for once. Josh Giddey's been my cash cow this season so far with less than 16.5. Excuse me. And 15.5 points. Like, that's been what Stevie, write that one down. When SGA is back, just fire up Giddey, less than 15.5, 16.5 points. And it's going to do well most of the season. So, definitely not taking that today. Like, this is a spot. Giddey's on triple-double watch today for what it's worth. Like,
oh, yeah.
We've seen him put up monster performances even last season when SGA was out. So this is a good spot for them. I'm
Priced
with you
up
on.
though. We should mention that DFS wise, pick 'em and prop world. Okay, I could get behind Josh Giddey. 8,400. If he starts getting a lot of ownership, this might be a spot where you take shots on Chet Holmgren instead, or a Jalen Williams instead, and just say Giddey doesn't get the triple double, but still has a good points and assist day type of thing, and just doesn't pay off 8,400, and Holmgren or Williams get there, or Lou Dort or Wallace if he starts next to these guys. I think the price on Giddey is the site kind of knew, DraftKings kind of knew, hey, SGA is not going to play in this game. We got to price Giddey up because this guy, he was 6,900 last slate and only put up 35 fantasy points, so he got a huge price increase. And overall, the Thunder in general all got priced up with SGA out.
Yeah, absolutely. So and I'm with you, Stevie. If it comes down to it, I'm kind of glad they priced him up because DraftKings has been a little loose to start the season. So you'll have to make a decision if you want to play Giddey or not, or Holmgren, all of these guys. About the only person that's probably still pretty reasonable is Dort. Everybody else is priced pretty good.
Watch the starting lineup news. If Wallace starts, I think he is someone that could play 28 to 30 minutes in this game. Looking at game flow really quick on CourtIQ, he does check in really early in games and gets the run. So I really do think Giddey could start at the 1 and this guy could start at the 2 and they move Dort to the 3 type of situation.
Yeah.
All right, Washington at Miami. This game has a 225.5 total. Miami a 9.5 point favorite. Gafford and Kispert are both questionable. Caleb Martin out for Miami. Washington has played at the fastest pace in the NBA to start the season. Miami plays slow. They have not changed their MO whatsoever. They play slow. The one thing that has stood out to me a little bit to start the season for Miami, they're 1-4. They're struggling defensively, where they have been really good defensively in years past. Struggling defensively, maybe a championship hangover, but you come out and you win this game. You try to get this in-season tournament going on the right foot. What are your thoughts here on the Washington side?
I have enjoyed playing Kyle Kuzma when he was a little bit cheaper. And I'm saying just a tad. He started out the season 7K a couple times, mid sevens. This team should be able to score points, Stevie. They're just not putting together winning basketball. Jordan Poole's down to 7,700, which essentially should be a good price for him with the role that he's going to have. But he hasn't played 30 minutes since the Memphis game. All the other ones, Stevie, they've been blown out. So I'm not going to assume blowout here, but you got to think on the road that they have some struggles if they can't put together some better defensive and offensive performances. So I don't hate Poole. I don't hate Kuzma. If Gafford is out again, then that's going to make this thing even more interesting. So I think I play Poole. I think I play Kuzma, and I don't mind Tyus Jones, and those are the main guys.
Yeah, so I don't hate this spot for Kuzma. Miami, like I said, they haven't been as good defensively. I could even get behind, taking some shots on a Jordan Poole, but his minutes had me a little worried.
I think it's the blowouts.
Yeah, I know Washington just can't keep games close.
It's been terrible.
Yeah, the other guy that I wanted to bring up and talk about here is Bilal Kolobi. I think he is someone at 4,100. If Casper sits in this game, he could play 25 to 30 minutes at 4,100. So don't know if they would necessarily take him off the floor in a blowout either. So watch the news on Kesprit, and if he's out, I think Colby is someone you could take some shots on here at 4,100.
Yeah.
Miami Heat, man.
Well, this is a good spot. Yeah.
It is. Like, the pace is fantastic, but like, again, Will, like, we're getting like this weird like price, like dynamic pricing, like they're jumping these guys up, and like I don't necessarily hate it, like, but you have to like know that going into the slate, like we're seeing like increase on like some of these guys price wise. I like this spot for Miami. I really like this spot for like a Tyler Hero. I think he could really benefit from a pace up game. 30 actual points. Yeah, 30 actual points in back-to-back games. Like, he's gone over 40 fantasy points in 3 of 4, but if he goes for 40 instead of 50, does he pay off 8,100? You know, like
no, he does not. Yeah. Yeah, the price is rough on him, man. Like, I feel like I needed another at least $7,500 price tag on him, Stevie. Like, this is, I mean, he started the season at 63 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and after, well, I tell you that he's had 3 40-plus point games, but we're definitely going to need the 50 at this price. And so, I mean, he could probably get away with 48, Stevie. 48, I think he'd still be okay. But the 41 isn't going to work, not at that price. So, good spot, but I don't want to pay this price for Hero. The problem is, Steve, he's taking so many shots. Like, I mean, not the past few games, the whole season he's taking 20 or more shots. That's where I get, it's like he's 8,100 for, like, he's taking more shots than some stud players. Like, Jokic isn't taking 20 plus shots a game. Only a few handful of guys, even the stars, are doing that. I think that's the only thing that makes me say, hey, we could play him. He's playing big minutes, and we just got to hope that Washington doesn't get blown out.
I mean, also, like, you have to think just the pace up spot here. Like, the pace up spot is just so fantastic overall.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real good spot for them.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get many spots better than this. It's just overall a fantastic spot for Miami, and I think this is a spot you just you eat the price tag a little bit on Tyler Hero and just take some shots. Yeah. All right, Dallas at Denver. Man, Luka and Jokic the other night, just absolutely duds. And now they play against each other. 226.5 total. Denver is 6.5 point favorite. Kyrie is questionable. Maxi Kleber is questionable. And Jamal Murray is probable. I know that some people will see the question mark next to his name. He's probable. Dallas first here. Will, man, bad taste in my mouth after the other night as far as like both of these teams are concerned. Luka didn't have a great game. He's 13K. He's 13K. Like, I mean, obviously, I think if Kyrie's out, it might not be enough. If Kyrie plays, yeah,
that's true. Like, that's super true. Oh man,
I think if Kyrie plays, I'm probably off of Dallas, unless like Maxi Kleber sits, and then I think you could potentially take some shots on Derek Lively. I do worry about like the foul trouble potential here against Jokic. Maybe like take some shots on like Tim Hardaway or a Williams if Kyrie's out and you don't want to pay 13K for Luka.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think really though this all hinges on, I think, Kyrie, whether or not he's out again, because Stevie at 13K, like, we're gonna need 60 plus from Luka. Like, it's got to be 60 plus, and I don't. Realistically, I'm very uncomfortable at 13K with him going into Denver.
Yeah, I mean, like, at what point, like, 65 doesn't beat you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's averaging 68 for what it's worth, but like you said, going into Denver, I don't like it. Like, I'm perfectly fine with the full fade on Luka.
He's like almost 80. Like, he needs like what, 80 plus?
like to really say, okay, we need him. I mean, if he got so Steve, I will say this: if he got to 75-ish,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
we'd be
anybody else is
close.
getting that high, but no one
Yeah,
else is 13K either, though.
correct. That's the thing. Like he's just too expensive. I don't hate Tim Hardaway. Like Tim Hardaway's actually been pretty good this season. Generally, like he's been 30 plus in almost every game. So I don't hate him at 5,500. The guy that's going to come out and get some shots up. Josh Green has been playing some minutes. Like he's okay. Grant Williams has been okay, especially with Kyrie out. Like I don't hate Grant Williams, and that's because his 38-point performance. Like he's playing 30 minutes a game. You know, he's going to get some shots. He had a nice scoring night the other night. But he'll pick up some rebounds. He'll do some of the dirty work. So I don't hate him, but generally speaking, I'm kind of out on Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not taking shots on Luka, I do want to mention like Derek Jones Jr. Like if we do get news that Kyrie and Kleber are both out, like I think you could potentially take shots on Derek Jones Jr. Like they're giving him more minutes. He's doing a lot with those minutes. He's a hustle player. We've seen this a lot with him throughout his career. Do I trust it? No. Is it worth a shot in large field tournaments? Probably. Denver side of this game, I mean, Jokic is 12K. Like other side of this game, now, like, you know, it's the battle of the two expensive guys. I feel like you hope this is a close competitive game and goes to 4 overtimes because that's what you need for these guys to get there at these prices.
Yeah, I think I'm probably more comfortable with Jokic than Luka in this spot for what it's worth. Dallas is not as good on defense as, you know, I think they will be later in this season. And so both of these guys have multiple avenues to get to like 70 fantasy points, Stevie. But I do feel like Jokic doesn't have to score like 40 real points to get there. Like we saw him score 70 opening night. He didn't score 30 points, Steve. It was 29, 13, 11. Like, so I just Jokic has more avenues in my book. Like he scored 65 with 27, 10, and 11. If he gets to 70, he's probably scoring 30 for what it's worth, but he doesn't have to. So I like Jokic a lot more than I like Luka here. I'm okay on Jamal Murray. You know, I'm okay with Michael Porter Jr., but I'm okay with Aaron Gordon. But generally speaking, I think it's just Jokic for me in this spot.
I think like Aaron Gordon is weirdly priced up as well. I think Michael Porter Jr. has higher ceiling overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
KCP can play big minutes in this game. He didn't play big minutes the other night because they just got absolutely crushed. But even at 4,900, I don't have a ton of interest in him. Just a weirdly priced game. Again, pricing is really interesting on the slate. Like it reminds me so much of like Draft Street pricing.
Oh,
we're going
back.
Going back. Some people are listening to this podcast. What is Draft Street?
Yeah, what is that?
Memphis at Portland, 218.5 total. Memphis a 1.5 point favorite. Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, John Morant, and Derrick Rose out for Memphis. Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons out for Portland. By far my favorite game on the slate. This is a game that I have circled. I think it's going to be ugly. Pricing is up there, but it's not like overly aggressive. It's aggressive. Don't get me wrong. Let's start here with Memphis first. I mean, you have to like this spot for Bane, in my opinion. I think this is overall one of the best plays on the entire slate. And you always like the ceiling upside for a Triple J when he's able to stay out of foul trouble. We know he can go for like 50 plus. I think Marcus Smart has a little bit of upside here against this like young guard core that like Portland's going to roll out in this game. I could see like Marcus Smart, you know, really filling up the steal sheet, like getting 5, 6, 7 steals in this game.
Yeah. Listen, I like Broad. Oh, my bad. I'm not talking about them yet. Talking about Memphis. I like Smart, at 6,800. This is a really good spot for him. You talked about the steal upside. I mean, I think what we have to hope, Stevie, is that Portland just doesn't get blown out right out of the gate. If this game can stay competitive, I think we see a ceiling game for Marcus Smart. Ceiling game for Marcus Smart is more like 42 to 45 fantasy points, not 50. He has put up 48 this season against Dallas. So I think we could see something closer to that. You talked about Bane. We know that Bane's ceiling is definitely he could get over 50 fantasy points. And I think, we consider him as well. I don't even hate Zaire Williams. He's been playing pretty nice minutes. I know last game he played low 20s, but he's been playing nice minutes as well. So I don't hate it. He's a guy that's actually been starting a little bit as well. You talked about Triple J. Triple J should be able to get in too much foul trouble in this spot, Stevie. He should kind of be able to roam a little bit because I don't think they're going to put him on Ayton. I think that'll be Tillman's job or Tillman's primary responsibility as long as he's playing. So, we've got Triple J and Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant isn't the guy that likes to bang inside. So I feel a lot better about Triple J not getting into foul trouble, which should unlock some of his upside. So this is a really interesting spot for this team. And then, Steve, one other guy, like if he can get 30 minutes, David Roddy at 3,900, he's been getting stable minutes. I like him in this spot as well. And I feel like David Roddy is a guy, if the game got slightly out of hand down the stretch, I think he still plays.
They did use Lofton Jr. the other night over Roddy to finish that game. Like Lofton Jr. is playing really well. Yeah. I noticed that on Game Flow when I was looking at it. But I think Memphis is super interesting. The other thing I wanted to note really quick was if Tillman gets 30 minutes in this game, he smashes. DeAndre Ayton is just not good defensively. Ayton's going to be focused on offense in this game anyway, especially with Scoot Henderson out. Let's talk about it. No Henderson, no Simons, Brogdon, right? Like Brogdon is one of the top point per dollar plays on the slate. Like, we saw a lot of dynamic pricing on this slate. Like the Scoot Henderson news just came out about 2 hours ago. They already had pricing up for this slate. Like there's no dynamic pricing for Portland today. It is not priced like with Henderson out.
Yeah, and the thing is, now I am actually going to talk about Malcolm Brogdon. Like Stevie, he hasn't been getting he's been playing mid-20s, no more than 30. Doesn't he have to play 35 minutes in this spot? 36 minutes? If the game's tight,
they can't give Sharp more minutes. He's already playing 40 minutes a night. Like they can't give him more minutes. Like who else are they really gonna roll out like Skylar Mays for 30 minutes? No.
So Brogdon at 65, this is gonna be a good spot for him. Let's just say right?
This is where like that in-season tournament thought process comes in, right? Like Portland, you want to try to win this game. Memphis is one of the worst teams in the NBA. Like you win this game and you potentially get Henderson back, and it sounds like Simon's going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. So you get Scoot Henderson back, and you're like, all right, let's see if we can make a little run. Let's see if we can get going here to start our season, because they have not started the season well. So I think you play your guys the minutes, and I think if there was ever a spot for Brogdon to play 35 minutes, it seems like this game.
Yeah, gotta be. What I will say though, Stevie, is Ayton, while his defense has been bad, upside, man. Yeah. He had 23 rebounds against Toronto. 23. And Stevie, it's not like he's not getting double digits most of these games. 12, 15, 9, 23, 11. If we're going to get these types of performances from Ayton, he's too cheap at 6,600. Even if he goes up tonight and scores 30, he's too cheap. So I like him a ton. And then, Stevie, you go over to Jeremy Grant. He's taking all the rebounds because Jeremy Grant's not getting any. He's just scoring points. So I'm kidding. He's getting some, but my point is Ayton is really on the glass right now, and so him and Brogdon, big time top plays for me in this spot.
And don't overlook Sharp. I still think Sharp has one of the highest ceilings. I know he's 7,300 now, but this guy is chucking, and now Scoot Henderson is out, and Scoot Henderson's a guy that's been putting up double-digit shot attempts, I think, in 4 or 5 games. those shots are going somewhere. Like Brogdon, yeah, he probably shoots 15 to 20 times in this game, but I really think Sharp shoots a lot in this game.
Yeah, Stevie, no doubt. Like, to me, Stevie, this feels like, in a sense, the end of the season when all the starters sit and Sharp comes in and just kind of does his thing. Yeah. Except it's like week 2 of the season. Yep. Incredible.
All right, let's play a morning grind game, and then we will get out of here. I know you have a fantastic weekend planned, and you're ready to get some rest and enjoy your weekend and a nice little week off after that. Chat can put those two things together. All right, morning grind game, DraftKings pricing and scoring. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got?
Oh man, Stevie. I usually write these down during the show, and I got so many things on my mind. I'm off my game, but under 5K to go 7X. Give me. There's a guy like for 3,900 today, and it was. We're gonna go back again. Give me Roddy. I like Roddy in the spot against Portland.
The pricing has made this tough. I will say, like, I was really struggling with this one when I was looking at it. I wrote down Malik Beasley. I'm going to keep that one. I like him, but I mean, pricing, like, this might be a slate I build more of like a balanced team, and just don't even go up to those like studs. All right, over 8K to go under 5X. Who's your bust today?
Oh man, give me. I think I got to go Giannis at 10-8. I mean, we talked about the defense of the Knicks, and Dame being there is definitely he's taking a hit offensively somewhat. Yeah, give me Giannis at 10-8.
I'm gonna go Lillard, stay in that same game. I will say, with the pricing on Jokic and Luka and SGA being out, Giannis looks a little bit more enticing for large field tournaments, but I'm with you. I think I kind of want to build balanced teams today. All right, favorite 6X play. Who do you got for 6X today?
I think I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. I felt this way since I opened up the slate. Give me Brogdon at 65, man. This just feels like a Brogdon 45, 50-point game to me with all those bodies out, all those guard bodies out. Excuse me.
Yeah, he's one of the best value plays on the slate. Value is not always 4K. Yeah. I'm going to go with my boy Vooch. Again, I am looking at building like a balanced team. I really like Holmgren and Vooch in this like price range. So give me Vooch here. Let's get weird. GPP play of the day. Who's getting weird today?
I think I'm going to go up, Stevie, to a guy that might be a little overpriced, but the spot is really good. Give me Tyler Hero, 8,100. I think he gets lost in the shuffle at the price.
I can be your hero, baby. Is that song on the playlist?
Maybe, but we got a DJ. So
all right. Well, I'm throwing hints out there to chat. All right. Let's get rid of GPP play today. I don't know how weird this is. It's so hard not having like ownership, but like his price increase, I'm hoping keeps his ownership down. Give me Chet Holmgren. I think this is a really good spot for him. And I think this is a back down and up and down type of game. And I think it has a lot of upside here. So I was looking at Pick'em. We like to give out Pick'em here at the end for our last question. There's not a ton of stuff up yet. We're going to skip it today. If you haven't already, join the RotoGrinders Discord, get in Chiefs Prop Shop, and have some fun. I mean, that chat is always going. I get tagged in that chat all the time. And it's nonstop, always going. So make sure you guys are in there. Someone just posted they got a 30X in NBA. So jump in.
Oh man, good for them.
Yeah. So
I'm not in there right now. So in fact, guys, if you join Chief Prop Shop and realize Chief isn't in there for a week, don't worry. I'll be back.
I'll try to post some stuff in there this week. I'll try to post some stuff in there this week. Will, I wish you and your bride to be the most amazing weekend, and I hope the weather is fantastic for your wedding. Hope you enjoy your honeymoon and enjoy a week off. You have deserved it. I am very happy for you. That's all I got for you guys. We'll be back Monday talking some hoops. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. NASCAR championship weekend. Big tournaments over there on DraftKings. Not as big as the beginning of the season. We've got a big $400 tournament. So make sure you're checking out here the NASCAR Premium package for the last time this season. We'll be back Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you then.